Welcome to Ask the Latina. Hispanics represent half of the U.S. home ownership growth since 2010, with 614,000 more Hispanics becoming homeowners in that time. In our financial series, we are going to talk about purchasing and selling a home. Today, our guest is Mari Paliga to teach us how this field works as far as a realtor, and also what to do if you're going to be a buyer or a seller of a home. Thank you, Mari, for being our guest today. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're originally from, and how you got started in this career path.
Thank you, Terry, for having me today.
Yes.
I was born and raised in Venezuela with Spanish as my first language. My appreciation for the Hispanic culture and its people is only compared by my love for helping people. I graduated in Venezuela at the top of my class with a degree in hospitality and tourism in 1997, and I grew very accustomed to helping foreign travelers while working in a 4-star hotel in the most popular tourist island in Venezuela, Margarita Island.
And we just showed the side of Margarita Island, and I think there's also a watermelon that I found an image of that shows that that's a 4-star restaurant for sure, or a hotel, I mean, with a 4-star restaurant.
Yes.
Beautiful location.
It is beautiful. I am also fluent in English, and since I moved to the United States, my career has revolved around services and people and the use of my bilingualism. Actually, I specialize in relocation, and I offered also the most service I can regarding the real estate.
That's good.
I will describe myself as positive and result driving. So
that's good for that area, especially.
Yes.
What is it like to buy a house in Latin America, and is it really different, the process, to the United States?
Yes, it's very different. In the Latin countries, the process is based on a credit that a company sometimes offers to the workers, to their employees, through some fund savings, and it's difficult sometimes to get pre-approved in that way. However, in the United States, the bank or mortgage company that you choose to get a check on your credit to know your score, and based on that, they approve the loan. I will say that is why it's important to build up lines of credit here in the United States.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a challenge for Latinos because we're more cash-oriented, correct?
Yes, in other countries it's more important that you don't own anything, so you pay cash. In the United States, it's more important that you can prove you can pay your loans.
That's good. So you're a realtor. What did it take for you to become a realtor? Did you have to take classes, take an exam? You have to have a license, and how often do you have to renew that license? Tell us about that. How hard is it to get started too, and getting clients? Because it's something that you have to build up, right?
Yes, yes. To be a realtor, I need to take 40 hours of pre-license to pass the Michigan real estate exam. And the license is renewed every 3 years. And within 3 years cycle, an agent have to complete 18 hours of continuing education. At least 2 of those hours of continuing education have to be complete in a license cycle year. And start can be, of course, a little hard. And since it is a requirement to work with a broker to be able to exercise as a realtor, it is important to choose the broker. So for me, it was very important to look around for the broker and the agency that fit better what I was looking for. I chose Keller Williams, and my office, my broker give me additional and unique training.
That's good.
Coaching, technology support.
Right.
I always can count on them. So I believe I found on them what I was looking for.
That's great. It sounds really good, important
Yes.
things to look at for that career level there, if you want to be a realtor.
It is.
If I were looking to sell my home, and what would you recommend that I do to make sure that it's going to sell as quickly as possible?
Yes, of course. I will say the court appeal and of course your property conditions are very important factors in how quickly your home will sell. So, your home exterior is what a buyer sees in person first. So if it doesn't look good, it can turn down a potential buyer. I will recommend that you cut your grass and trim and shape the edges. I will say that wash or apply fresh coat of paint in your front door.
Okay.
Polish the knob.
Doorknobs. I was told that once by a realtor. I'm like,
also try to clean and polish the number in the house, clean your windows inside and out. I will say putting flowers in the entranceway will add some color and will make your house look attractive. Maybe getting a new mailbox if yours doesn't look that new or nice. It will keep the attention.
So, in fact, so basically, there's some other tips too that you provided. So, what?
Yeah. Also, I will say that acquiring the highest market value above other homes in the same price range will come in fat from the first impression. So. Staging your home will be important. That look good, yes.
So you gave some good tips, but what are the don'ts and do's? How do we compare those when we're trying to sell our home?
Well,
like the do's, let's go over the do's, and I think you mentioned some, and there are probably some other extra do's that you could tell us?
Yes. To prepare your home for sale to look the best, I will say that you should clean and paint the walls.
Okay.
Clean the floors, lights, fans, remove personalized
like the
items.
Family photos?
Like a family photos, that is a good one. So the buyer can focus more on the home and can imagine themselves living there also. Get a storage unit to declutter your home. And do a small low-cost upgrades.
And what shouldn't you do?
Well,
what don't you have to do, in other words?
I will say don't do major remodels. Probably you won't recover all the money back.
Right.
Don't store your clutter in the closets.
Oh, because they'll open it?
Because, yes, that will show you don't have enough space. Don't paint your house with bold and bright colors. Will be easier to do something neutral. Don't let others like a smoke. Yes, remain in your home.
Or kitty litter, I suppose, things like that.
Of course, yes.
What are the different options that you can offer a buyer when you're selling your home? How does that work?
Well, there are different options. There is a land contract. This can provide a way for a home buyer who cannot qualify for a conventional financing to purchase a home. Also will give to a seller a way to sell the house in a perceived value that he has instead of a value that an appraisal can reflect. However, a land contract is an agreement between the buyer and the seller. So this agreement is say the buyer is purchasing a home but won't receive the legal title until the debt is satisfied.
Is it risky?
It's very risky. Contracts are a form of a seller financing. Under this contract, the buyer made the payments directly to the seller instead of a bank or a mortgage company.
Okay.
And if there is a point where the buyer cannot make the payments, the seller will regain the home and will keep all the money that the buyer has paid up to that point.
So they can regain the home in a way, so in possession of the property and everything.
It can. A land contract are legal and binding in Michigan and should be in writing in order to be reinforced. And it can have the risk. It has the good side in the financial way to help a buyer that can qualify for the financial, but it can be risky.
So it can be bad for the seller.
It can,
yeah.
yes.
And what's another one that?
Well, we have the short sales also. And in Michigan, the short sale is when a lender accepts a discount on a mortgage as a way of avoiding a possible foreclosure. It is when the lender accepts less than the total amount of money that is due. And the process of a short sale is very unique arrangement between the financial institution that is involved and the homeowner working together. It's a way to find how to sell the home before become another foreclosure property.
So it's the bank working with the seller because they still own the house?
Yes, because the house can be sold at the full amount that is owned. They try to make an agreement and try to sell for less than the value. And normally try to be sold at least for what the seller owns.
Okay.
Normally a short sales go under the price that the seller owns in the house. That is why the financial institutions try to work together, because they will receive at the end less than what the homeowner owns to the company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. And what's another alternative?
Well, rent to own, this can be a great option. Is an alternative on buying. When a buyer signs this kind of contract, they agree to rent the home for a set amount of money. And when they sign this contract, they have the option of buying the house in a time that is in the contract, in a period of time for an amount that has been agreed. Normally, when the owner of the house gives to the tenant some kind of credit from the amount he has paid in rent. This discount or this amount that go from what has paid in rent go to help the buyer in the closing costs or in the purchase price, and is known as a form of a rent credit.
Oh, okay. So there's a certain amount that they have to make an agreement around. Is that rent going towards the purchase of the house then?
A portion of the rent normally is typically
not the whole thing.
Not the whole thing. They rent the house and agree in a set amount of time to purchase the house for an amount that has been agreed between the tenant and the owner of the house.
Got you.
Yes.
And that could be risky too. If something happens to, or I mean, let's say, renting, normally you worry about them damaging your house. So
yes, but if someone rent with
the
intention of buy,
they'll take care of it.
We'll take care of that. Yes, and there is an addendum to the lease agreement. So it stipulates that the owner will pay the mortgage. You know, there are details to take care of
Okay.
But it will protect each one.
That's good to know. And is there another one?
There is the FHA.
Okay.
This is common sometimes in first-time buyers.
Okay.
It's a loan mortgage insured by the Federal Housing Administration.
Okay.
The buyer with FHA loan will pay mortgage insurance. This mortgage will protect the lender from a loss if the buyer default in the payment.
Oh, okay.
It's a government-backed loan that allows people to buy moderate home price with a down payment as low as 3.5% down.
Okay.
But the buyer
really
should
low.
have a 580 as a credit score.
Yeah, and the credit score, I think, what is this? What's the range? What's a good range? Like about 800? So 580 is on the low
700.
side.
So if for some reason a buyer have less than 580, like 500 to 579, still can qualify for the FHA loan as long as the down payment is 10%.
Okay.
However, it's important to understand and to remember that lower your credit score, higher the rate that you will pay of interest.
So it's very important to pay off those bills. Okay.
Yes.
And your credit card bills.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. And so when is the best time to put your home on the market and why? That's one of the things that I'm sure is very important if you're about to think about selling your home.
Yes. Of course, there are different reasons why a person will sell a home. However, in my opinion, the best time to put a home in the market for sale is late April, early May. I believe typically spring has been known as the best time to sell your home. So if you can wait to that time, I will say it will work to do it.
Oh, that's good.
In the other hand, you know, at that time of the year are going to be so many houses in the market that a buyer can be more selective. So staging your home to look its best will be really important.
That's true, and I believe that it's also the fact that kids are going to school. So if you're a family, that's the time to be looking, and you can.
Yes, especially for family, they want to find a house by the time the school is ending, spend the summer moving, and by the new school year, they are ready in the new home with the new school district, or you know.
Okay, so we got the good time. When's the worst time, and why?
Well, this is my opinion, and I will say that between November to January,
winter months almost done.
Yes, I will say this because people will prefer to look for the houses in a better conditions. You know,
hard to see the house in the middle of snow. Sometimes I agree with that.
However, you know, in those months through the year, always there are potential buyers looking for a property, for a home to buy. So I will say less houses come out to the market and less people will look. But always will be buyers looking for the right home, you know.
Now let's look at this from a buyer's perspective, because we talked about selling, but what about a buyer's perspective? What should some of the things that a buyer should look for when they're starting to search for a home?
Well, once you decide to buy a home, I will say very, very important will be to review your current financials.
Okay.
And to get pre-approved and look at the mortgage scenarios before you start looking for the house. I will say it's very important because you will know how much you can borrow. Okay. And also will let you look for the right price range that you can afford.
That's good.
I will say check the first time buyer program if this is your first home, because it can offer lower payments requirements and it can be helpful.
There's some benefits, definitely. I see that.
Your real estate agent will send you a list of properties to the multi-listing service. This list will have updates, will have alert, and it will let you know what is becoming available in your price range with the criteria and needs that you want to find.
Right. That's good. And I know nowadays there's so much technology that you have these 360 videos and a lot of ways to see them on the internet, correct?
There is a lot. There is the 360. Yeah.
So not too much driving around, hopefully.
It's a nice way to have a virtual tour without another agent go to do it for you, because it's not common. Sometimes it's not accepted by other agents that you don't go when your clients just go to do the virtual tour. So
better to see it in person then.
Now the technology, yes.
So Mari, give us some do's and don't tips about buying a home then. You've kind of said some of the things financially you should prepare, but when you're actually going to the process of buying, what are some of the things that you can guide people to?
Well, I will say it's important to find an agent that represents you.
In your area?
It will be very important that knows your area. And also important to go with an agent instead of by yourself. Remember, I think the process can become overwhelming and confusing sometimes, and in my opinion, to have an agent by your side that support you will be really valuable. Once you are pre-approved, focus on what you want, what are your needs, you know. And
so you prioritize that, I imagine. Like the school might be very important.
The school, or close to work, or close to some downtown, you know. So, of course, choose the area where you want to live, so you don't stand and find houses that then later you realize, wow, it really doesn't go to the school I prefer, or I need to drive to work more than what I prefer to.
I remember when we were looking, we looked for something close to the expressway. But we looked in winter, so it was a little bit challenging because later on we saw all these other subdivisions we wish we had seen.
And another good thing to do is visit open houses. You know, it's very common to weekend. You can go out, drive with the family, see open houses, and actually it will help you to be more clear in what you want.
That's good.
Yes.
Good idea. So what shouldn't you do? What's a don't?
Well, I will say don't start looking for a house before you know your financial scenarios and how much you can borrow. So by accident you don't fall in love with a house that you can't afford. Yes. Also, I will say don't buy based on what you want, do it based on what you need. So later you don't need to regret what you got into. Probably, I know. More than what you can handle, right? That's the saying? Yes, or not exactly the number of rooms you needed or the space in the closet. That's true. So what has been the reaction of your Latino or Latina clients that have had when they're looking for a home to purchase? I mean, what are their reactions personally with their own experience, especially coming from Latin America? Yes. One comment I have received is like the process of them to get pre-approved has been easier than what they were thinking. Interesting. Because they don't need to count on the company for help. It's based on a credit score. However, they have realized that what is important in their country of paying cash and don't own is not important here. Doesn't matter if you have all the possible money to pay anything. here it's important you prove that you can pay a loan. So that has been a comment interesting to hear because the culture is different.
That's right. It's like purchasing a car. We tend to not want to be in debt so much. We don't like the loans and stuff like that. We want to pay it off as quick as possible. So, and we use cash a lot, so the credit card is really a little bit tricky there, isn't it? So.
It is true, but just important to keep in mind. Open lines of credit. Get a credit card. You know, you use it, you pay, you own a little, you pay what you own.
Right.
Same with the card, you do through a loan and you pay your monthly, what is your payment, and that it will give you some credit score.
That's really good. Good to know. Well, Hispanics are expected to account for 180,000 to 220,000 new homeowners per year between 2010 and 2020. And even more in the subsequent years. At the same time frame, the Urban Institute estimates Hispanics will account for 55.5% of new homeowners nationwide. So thank you, Mari, for helping us understand what it takes to be a realtor and how to look for selling your home and what you need to do, the do's and don'ts of buying as well. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Terry, for having me over. It's very important to educate the Latin community, the Hispanic, and I love helping people, so it was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. So join us again for another episode of Ask the Latina. Thank you.